The Nintendo Direct just dropped, and while it has everyone fangirling over the new Tears of the Kingdom trailer, I'm over here drooling for the Pikmin 4 trailer. And let me tell you, this trailer gave us a ton of new info on the game. So let's dive right in and explore everything you probably missed on your first watch through of the Pikmin 4 gameplay trailer. Whoa, do you see that in the background? It's a reminder that only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed, so you should click that subscribe button to make the number larger. As the trailer starts, we are greeted with our lovely spaceship launching out of hyperdrive and approaching orbit to this beautiful piano fanfare, towards what we can only assume is PNF 404, the home of the Pikmin series. In this opening shot, we are greeted with what seems to be the bench from the first trailer that we got back in September, and now we can see a few things of note. First off being these rings of these ruby-like crystals. As we see later in the trailer, these will be indications of important areas, such as where the ship and onion are located, or where you can enter new certain areas. Along with that, we see next to a leg of the bench a pile of white crystals. Now, unfortunately, these are not the same crystal-like rocks that we had in Pikmin 3, so my hopes for rock Pikmin are very low, but these do seem to be rather important, as we will discuss later in the trailer. The next scene, we are given even more stunning artwork and design, while also reintroduced to a fiery blowhog, one of many enemies returning from previous games. The following clip shows us so much more, and this is where we get to dive even deeper. First off, in the front left, we have some ceramic pots, which again we will talk about later in the trailer, but take a closer look at what those pots are surrounding. The light blue glowing circle. From watching over this trailer several times, I'm led to believe that these circles will be entrances to some form of dungeon, similar to what we saw in Pikmin 2, and this theory is further proven by some clips later shown. Along with this one, we see many others like it throughout the trailer, leading me to believe that this will be a core gameplay mechanic. Alongside those, we have another pile of crystal-like rocks, of which I'm still not entirely sure of their purpose. There's a clip later in the trailer that these may be connected to, but right now I'm not totally sure. Next to those are what appear to be baby birds, possibly representing a younger version of the burrowing Snagret, another enemy that has made many appearances in prior Pikmin games. If you look closely at the ground in the area behind the birds, you will also see another familiar foe. Just barely peeking out of the dirt, we can make out what appears to be a Joustmite, which we do get confirmation of later in the trailer that these creatures also will make a return in Pikmin 4. The final point of interest from this clip is the red and blue object with some sparkling effect. This is one of many treasures that appear around PNF 404 and will be another core gameplay aspect in Pikmin 4. As we fly in, we land at what I'm assuming will be our tutorial area, a very linear path with one clear goal of moving the route blocking our path, which again we are shown later in the trailer that this is something we can command our Pikmin to do. As we get our first look at the new onion, we once again see the pinkish ruby-like crystals that mark our areas of interest within their rings. Behind the onion and spaceship, we also see what looks to be an unbloomed pellet posy right next to the beautiful garden atmosphere that it seems this location is built around. Next to the pellet posy, however, we see an almost flower pot looking stump-like object, possibly another dungeon entrance or maybe something else of interest. Following that scene, we are assured that yes, there are red Pikmin in this game, just in case you were worried. Also, less importantly, there's a giant spaceship that we later find holds the rest of our crew. After that, we are greeted with the new multicolored onion, a much better design than how Pikmin 3 did it in my opinion, but that's not the only important thing in this shot. We again see the large park bench with the crystal pile by one of its legs, but just behind that we see what looks to be yet another treasure giving off its shiny particles. More importantly, however, we get to see the new graphic for our pointer of which Pikmin we're currently holding and how many of that Pikmin are in our party. Overall, I love this design choice and I just think it looks so darn good. Other than that, there was only one very interesting detail I noticed in this section. As the party is running, right before we cut away to the next clip, we see a pellet posy with some interesting colors. For the first few frames, the posy appears to be pink, where it then changes to purple. While it could be very possible that we see winged Pikmin and purple Pikmin in the story, considering Nintendo posted this official artwork with every Pikmin portrayed in Pikmin 4, I personally believe that it's more likely just a lighting aspect, error, glitch, whatever you want to call it, making a blue and red posy look as if it were pink and purple, considering purple Pikmin were known to only be made through candy pop buttons in previous games. Moving on to the next clip, we once again see a pile of crystals next to a large pair of binoculars, the only treasure we actually see collected in the trailer. We also see a red bullboard, which were shown off in the first trailer we got back in September. The main thing that piques my interest, however, is a red flashing light off in the distance. While it very well could just be nothing, it looks as if it might have some importance at some point in the story. In the next clip, we are taken to what I believe to be a different level. While there really isn't much in the foreground of interest, it is cool to note that the first level looked to be a backyard or garden type theme, while this one seems much more like a children's playground with the playset in the back and what appears to be a dinosaur-esque slide. In the next scene, we see a bunch of red Pikmin breaking down a sand wall. Nothing new for the Pikmin series, however, something weird happens after this one breaks. Did you catch it? Yeah, after this wall is broken, 2 of those crystals appear, making me wonder, what the heck are these dang things for? They must be important, right? I mean, heck, there's piles of them everywhere, and we're gifted them for breaking down walls? I really want to know. Besides that, we see yet another dungeon entrance along with more pots and a bulwark in the background. We also see what appears to be an onion or something similar perched on something. We get a slightly better look at it in the next shot. Along with the onion in the next shot, we can also see the pocket watch shown off in the first September trailer, along with another fiery blowhog and a weird looking board with a handle similar to the ones that required wing Pikmin in Pikmin 3. Next up, we have the Pikmin pulling out the roots like I mentioned earlier. Along with that, there are several things of interest in the background. First off, we have one of the dungeon ports open, spitting out steam, which pretty much confirms my theory that they are dungeons considering what we see at the end of the trailer with our cabins being launched out of the caverns with a gust of wind. Above that, we see a burgeoning spider wart in the distance, suggesting that potions will return to the game, which is also later confirmed in the boss battle scene. The next scene we are greeted with, the Pikmin are building us a wall that we can climb? Huh, pretty cool if you ask me. On top of this ledge, we see what looks to be a new enemy, the ship in the distance, a seemingly pushable bag on the right side of the screen to create a shortcut, and lots more beautiful scenery. Following that, we see the captain collecting the binoculars with what seemed to be another dungeon buried under some dirt behind it. As we carry the treasure back, we can see in the background what look to be 2 more open dungeons. I'm assuming this is how dungeons will look after you have completed them, but I cannot be 100% positive. Next up, out of left field, we are introduced to Ice Pikmin. Similarly to White Pikmin in previous games, these Pikmin seem to have an effect after being eaten. Rather than poisoning the creature causing massive damage, it leaves the creature frozen, similarly to what the purple potion did in Pikmin 2. I'd also like to point out that Ice Pikmin have yellow flowers representing the yellow 4 that was shown off in the title logo. Along with freezing enemies, Ice Pikmin are also able to freeze large bodies of water, which open up all new strategies surrounding water in Pikmin 4. Next up is something I wasn't expecting at all in a Pikmin trailer. It's a freaking dog! Ochi the dog, or at least I'm assuming that's its name since that's what the cabins call it later in the trailer. Ochi can do so many things, like charging into pots and breaking them, carrying 10 times the amount a normal Pikmin can, and carrying a captain and an entire party of Pikmin across water? That's freaking awesome! Okay, now that we covered Ochi, let's get back to details. In this scene, we can again see Joust and a better image of the dinosaur slide. We also get a glimpse of what appears to be an electric gate returning from previous games, and right beside it we see the glimmering of what appears to be yet another treasure. After Ochi breaks the pots, we see yet another buried item, this time what looks to be the top of a gourd. In the scene of Ochi dragging the bullboard, we see yet another ring of the pink crystals, along with several yellow pellet posies and a treasure up on a high surface. This leads me to believe that this is probably where the yellow onion will spawn, and where we will first discover yellow Pikmin. This may be a stretch, but that's my personal theory. Following this, we get to see 4 captains, one of which is named Shepard and another named Colin. Then, while we sprint across the pond with Ochi, we get a glimpse of a few things. First off, we get a clear look at Wallywogs, another returning enemy, and we also zoom past some toy boats, which appear to have the glimmer of treasure to be collected. Finally, we enter an underground area, which I believe are going to be our main dungeons in the game, with the main goal being finding the castaways. With Ochi at our side, we spot some sheer grubs and delve through dungeons searching for what appears to be lost adventurers. With these dungeons, we can also expect to encounter bosses, such as this one, which I am dubbing either Disco Longlegs or Groovy Longlegs, and the return of Empress Bullblacks. During the Longlegs fight, we can also see the potion taking effect as I mentioned earlier with the burgeoning spider wart. Escaping these dungeons, we blast up on a gust of wind, also pushing more in favor of my theory of the open dungeons. There was also a post-credits-esque scene with what appears to be an all-new game mode, but it seems far too early to tell what that could be, but I may make a theory video on that in the future. Overall, this was a great trailer, and it really got me hyped for Pikmin 4. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more Pikmin 4 content in the future. If you spotted anything that I missed, let me know, and share what you're most excited for down in the comments. Thanks for watching!